Now let's go to Europe. We head straight to Germany. It's a big week there as the country decides how to move forward with its COVID-19 restrictions. There are signs that the pandemic may be abating. The question is to prolong the school and work closures or start returning to normal life, as Donald Trump said he would in May. The answer could have major consequences. Let's get more from William Glowcroft, political correspondent with our partner DW, who joins us from his home in Berlin. Hello, William.
Hello there.
So what's the latest in Germany and elsewhere? Bring us up to speed on what's happening as well in other parts of Europe.
Well, we've been waiting for Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, to come out to give a press conference, actually, about the latest. We've been waiting about an hour. She should have come out. But what we know so far, what we think we know, is that the current restrictions are largely going to continue until May 3rd. There may be some loosening for some businesses starting next week. But there's talk of requiring face masks on public transit and in shops. But the rest, in terms of schools and the like, these are going to have to stay closed until at least May 4th. And schools are going to have to come up with a plan for keeping children safe and keeping them far enough apart that they don't potentially infect each other. Major events in Germany, we're being told, are going to be still off until the end of August. So this is something, what looks like to be a more middle-of-the-road approach between, say, France, where the lockdown is continuing until at least May 11th, and Austria, which is having the boldest or most liberal opening of its, or reopening of its society by starting this week with most of its small businesses opening and schools and larger companies following shortly thereafter.
So how will the government of Germany make its decision as far as the restrictions are concerned? Well, in the United States of America, we've heard President Donald Trump say he's looking to open up as early as May. How is this panning out in Germany?
Well, there's a number of factors to take into account. Of course, number one, the public health factor, the physical health, the danger of this infection spreading or coming back in an even worse way. But there's also psychological health, of course, the economic health, and not only the economic health of the entire country, but the personal financial well-being of people who are stuck inside. There's also been reports of a rise in domestic violence against women and children as people have been stuck at home. So all of these kinds of factors are things that officials are taking into account. But even just yesterday, Peter Altmaier, the economics minister for Germany, he said that it's going to be public health that comes first. It's going to be infection rates that are going to really determine whether these restrictions get relaxed or not. Of course, everybody is worried about a second wave of this infection, that although Germany has fared quite well so far, especially in comparison to many of its neighboring states that have been hit really, really hard by this terrible pandemic, there is worry that Germany, and no country really, is out of the woods yet.
And so what are the risks if governments should decide one way or the other? I mean, the options available to them, what are the risks associated with them?
Well, of course, if you keep the restrictions in place, you're going to look at continue major hits to the economy. Just today, the economy ministry came out with information, no surprise, that Germany is indeed in a recession. And of course, as I mentioned, all of the psychological and financial and social well-being effects by keeping people at home, by keeping people socially distant from one another, that takes its toll on people. And of course, the risks, the other side, the risks of easing up on the restrictions, that's quite clear. Letting people out and about, first of all, you have to basically trust people that they're going to maintain social distancing, that they're going to continue to be safe, that even if they go into a shop or if things start to open up, that they're going to be taking certain precautions. It's very hard to enforce, and that could really risk a second wave of this infection. And also, officials are very worried about the medical system, the healthcare system, being able to hold up and maintain its level of care with this pandemic. So far, German hospitals and the healthcare system have been doing very well in comparison to other countries. The intensive care sector of the healthcare system is not under strain. There is capacity there, but there is fear that that could very quickly change if this kind of restriction or lifting of restrictions is not done correctly.
Interesting. So we see you're reporting from your home, but then the restrictions in Germany are not necessarily as stringent, I should say, perhaps, as it is over here. What happens if you have to go to work? Do you have to carry an ID, as we do here in Ghana?
That is not the case in Germany. First of all, it's important to note that Germany is a very decentralized and federal system. So Angela Merkel doesn't just snap her fingers and make decisions and things happen. It very much has to happen with the agreement of all 16 states in Germany, with the leaders of those states. And of course, Angela Merkel's cabinet plays an important role as well. So there's not been the full formal lockdown that we've seen in France, in Spain, in Italy. It's been more of a highly recommended one. People have been encouraged to stay home, but of course, if you have to go to work, you are able to go to work. There's been no need for special IDs or permissions, but still very much the recommendation. And in fact, for example, here in Berlin, the police are enforcing any kind of breaking of rules, people mingling together when they shouldn't. Just one extreme example: over the weekend, police charged 34 people for gathering in a small apartment that was rented specifically for a 16-year-old's birthday, and including the mother and the daughter, the birthday girl herself. They are both in a bit of legal trouble now for violating the social distancing rules here in Berlin.
Oh, that's sad. That's sad. But people should learn to stick to the rules. William, thank you so much for that update. We certainly will come to you sometime this week before the week ends. William Glowcroft is political correspondent with our partners, DW, joining us all the way from Berlin, broadcasting from home.